Well, hello there. It's good to see you guys again. Well, we're back with another writing stream. So let me pop it up on screen there. Just let me check my phone here so I can. Okay, now I can see. I actually see the chat, so I see people's comments on my phone, so I don't have to get distracted by swapping screens. Let's exit solo view and go into this. I already teased this on Instagram. Still, again, this next story of my anthology Shadows of Priestfield is a very, very slow process. And it disappeared. Just go back up a little bit. Hello, Kathy. How are you? Glad you could drop by. Suspicions. Hmm. Fan fiction and poems. Well, I'm not sure if you know it, but if you want to read some, I think there's a couple of things of fan fiction I read on Wattpad from this game from the game Until Dawn. They're good, but I mean, looking at it from like a purely like proofread point of view, it's just it's very amateurish. It's just like I don't think they give you the ability to proofread a lot of the stuff. It's just really kind of odd to me. It's like you just go, you just write. That's all they do. They don't give you any time to like go back and proofread anything. But that's the reason why I just rather just have everything and just like write stuff on like Word document. Some people prefer Google Doc or something, but this everything is like all kept like together and saved. But like I said, I'm using this. I'm still typing this out on a older computer. It's using Windows 8, and I don't have the dictation program in Word because it doesn't have like built a built-in text to speech thing, which you think it would have. But I guess since the operating system's older, it just can't really have it. Hmm. Right. Writing notes on your phone. Hmm. Just like that chick who wrote freaking 50 Shades of Grey, huh? Hmm. Hmm. I see. Sometimes there's always something about stories. I mean, sometimes it seems like sometimes they really want you to drag it out and like have like try to like reach a quota. Like a page, a book has to be a certain set number of pages long. I mean, if you really just want to tell the story, I mean, if you could tell the story in in less pages, that's perfect. Because I mean, at least it'll make it a tad bit more digestible for some people. And that's why some people kind of feel a little overwhelmed when they read books because some of them are just too long. And oftentimes there's always that thing with a lot of filler in it. Because I think the first book of my Shadows of Priestfield anthology here that you're seeing on screen, it was at best like 25, it was like 29 pages long at least. Heck, I even printed it out and like read it to my grandmother at her grave. She passed away a couple years ago, and I kind of wrote that story as a bit of a tribute to her in a way. And now I just thought to myself, yeah, why don't I just take this to the next step and just like make this a full on anthology? Because the whole idea of the story was, again, I kind of had the idea of this story in my head since like 2008. Kind of the same thing with my magnum opus story as well. It's like about superheroes, just a bunch of kids go into some scary mansion in the middle of their neighborhood, and they fight a whole bunch of evil illusions and horrible, creepy stuff, and make it out with their lives as better people in a way. Les Miserables, huh? Hmm. I would say personally, one of the saddest books I ever read was probably Where the Red Fern Grows. I mean, I think I watched the film adaptation, and I don't know, it doesn't, still kind of ends the same way, but it's still a very saddening ending. I mean, it makes you feel that, yeah, that even animals kind of have feelings just like us humans do. Especially again with those two puppies. It's so sad. And it ends very poignantly, like basically where it gets its title derived from. A red fern grows between them. Old Yeller. That's one I did. That's one I don't think I've read Old Yeller, but I know I remember reading. There's two books I remember reading back in like school. One of them was this book called The Hatchet, and it was about a young kid who obviously had parents who were divorced, and he actually flew up to Canada to go visit his father in the Canadian tar sand fields, and the plane he was in crashed, and he's been stuck out in the wilderness for several days, if not months. And all he had with him to survive was a hatchet. But of course, there's some lingering things that he figured out. Like you figure out what one thing you figure out is like why his parents got divorced. I think his mother was like his mother cheated on his father, and that's kind of why they were divorced. And heck, I think the kid even didn't even know the name of the pilot of his, but I think when he was trying, there's a point where he has to go and investigate the plane to try to see if he can find supplies in it. And I think he finds like the mute like the skeleton of the pilot, probably just decomposed underwater. Probably the fish got to him, most likely. It was a pretty decent book. I wouldn't say it's like something to completely write home about, but I also still read Holes as well. I remember reading briefly remember reading like the most dangerous game. I think I even there was always that thing where you do in class where you have like certain where you ask certain people, your teacher asks certain people to read certain sections of the book, and you like narrate it, or it's like one of those things where the whole book is sort of like laid out like a play script or something. Always always kind of weird. So, but that, and also I remember my junior year of like English was we read The Crucible. And honestly, again, The Crucible really kind of ties in with like Halloween horror, around the Salem witch trials. But of course, I could just say the girls were just really good at manipulation. That's the best thing I can really say about that book, especially essentially Abigail. She pretty much got away with everything scot free in that story. And poor John Proctor, well, he was basically left and hung out to dry. Pretty much, if you get my drift there. Back to the Mists of Time. I don't think I've ever heard of that book. Because I mean, if I'm gonna say it out loud, the only books I remember reading, the books having to read, I know. I think my third grade teacher kind of read those Hank the Cow Dog books over and over throughout class time. I mean, but I remember reading, but I never really like truly started reading books like all the like more novel like a novella like books until like again fifth grade. So yeah, one of them. The first of them was Holes, and again, I think there's one small difference in the book. I think that is noticeable. That's different in the movie. Like with like when Stanley's father finds the cure for foot odor. In the book, it's more of an expositional scene. It's more of an expositional scene where he's in the car with his lawyer. He's in the car with his lawyer and Zero driving back to wherever town he came from or city. It may have been like maybe Austin. Maybe it could have been like Austin, Texas, or Dallas. We don't really know exactly what part of the state of Texas, like what city Stanley is from in Texas. We don't really know. But yeah, that was more of an expositional scene in the book, but in the movie they actually do show you that. So again, show don't tell really comes into play when it's a movie. In the book it's just told to us. And I know there always is that sort of dichotomy between show don't tell. But technically again, the whole point of like writing a book in a first person perspective is more or less the character or whoever's narrating the story telling you the events from their perspective. That's always that sort of different dichotomy. If it's a third person perspective, you don't have to don't use a lot of terms like I or you just use like they, all those other things. Because again, you're just the person who's telling the story is most likely a disconnected third party from it. Hence, why it's third person. First person, you're hearing the account of it firsthand from the characters themselves or several characters. Yeah, I know. I'm just looking at it from my perspective when I was in school. Sometimes it was easier when it was easier to read when you could just follow along a little bit with like hearing like an audio tape of the book itself. Now we can listen to books digitally now. Crazy how much times have changed. I'm probably the last generation who heard like books on audio on like cassette tape. I'm probably the last generation to do that. what was his name? It wasn't. It had it. That was his name, right? Hmm. Kind of crazy you said that thing about vampires because turns out the fictional band that technically are the central antagonist, they're technically like the central antagonists of at least this first arc of stories. It's really kind of like I know. I think their lead singer is like a vampire. Like, well, forgot there was like one random character that my characters do bring up when they were talking in school. Keep forgetting his what's his name, Jonah or something. Oh, that's what his name. His name was Jonas, not Jonah. I forgot. So sometimes I had to go back and read through some of the stuff I've already written. Because I mean, the first story, it pretty much is more. It can feel pretty more standalone, but it kind of leaves the door open for like more sequel bait, or in a way. Oh, yeah, I missed that. I missed that name up. Oh, okay. Well, Kathy, thank God you didn't read those those types of books because seriously, honestly, that really should be a mockery of what vampires are supposed to be about. They're supposed to be creatures that are beautiful, but yet they're dangerous at the same time. They pull you in with their charms and their beauty, and once they have you under their spell, that's when they get you. And that proves the true beauty of what's boring. Are you talking about those other book those books? Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just checking. Like I said, though, it's always been the greatest danger of vampires is that they're beautiful, but they can lure you in easily with their charms. And when you least expect it, it's all gonna everybody's gonna have fun tonight, and then that vampire's gonna go Feng Chung tonight. Okay, there we go. Jonas was probably. Yeah, and I know the vampires in Blade, they really just depict them as like, again, gothic, crazy, and just all around just scumbags in a way. They're like criminals, mafia gang members, stuff like that. And I think only the ones who are loyal to like Demaskinos or the House of Erebus are the ones that are more sophisticated. I mean, they dress in fancy clothes, they got fancy jewelry, stuff like that. And some who just go to those nightclubs are just like, average, or just like, just wearing goth stuff, leather, stuff like that. That effect. Sorry, if I put that in there. Hmm. Thomas Ian Griffin, and that's from That's from John Carpenter's Vampires, right? Okay. All right, I should probably put some music on. Almost forgot to do that. There we go. Oh, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. I don't know why Sparks always has to be so upfront with his writing. Doc, this is the only form you guys had back in your time. Yes, and yet you have so many modern conveniences, and yet you use it for writing. Yeah, that's kind of the point. Indeed. I see. Then carry on. Of course, I had to tweet all that out for you because, of course, who would really watch any of this if I didn't? Hardy har, Dr. Vandenberg. Hardy har. All right. I'm actually glad you're here so I can just chat with you too, Kathy. Thank you so much. Yeah. Last I was. Okay, do that. It's kind of crazy that George R. R. Martin still probably hasn't finished the other ones though. I mean, exactly how many did he actually complete though? There's one he's had in the works for years. Okay, so he's completed 6 books. Okay. I mean, I'm not sure how long it took J.K. Rowling to write all the Harry Potter books, though. I see. I know I'm not much for fantasy, but something I've always really found interesting is now I'm really starting to get I really feel like I've kind of like started understanding a little bit of the world of darkness in a way. And I think what I'm writing is kind of based on that in a way. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the world of darkness, but what I'm depicting right here is literally a moment where the characters realize that everything about their town is a lie, that there actually monsters and other creatures disguised as humans, and the veil's been pulled over their eyes, and they see the truth of what these creatures really are. Yeah, I know. The only books I actually haven't read that I actually own that are Star Wars, and those are the only books I have. I only have one Halo book, and I have Contact Harvest, but I've read that one. I've read all the Bane trilogy novels. The only ones I have is Mara Jade book, Choices of One, and I also have Republic Commando, Order 66. And I need to get some more books and especially I want to get ones for Halo. The ones I want to get are First Strike, The Cold Protocol, and The Fall of Reach. Heck, I think I even have Contact Harvest and Dark Plagueis on audiobook, and I actually have the physical copies of them both. I have the one. Yeah, it's written by Karen Travis. I actually had a Halo novel back in the day that was written by her called Halo Glasslands. I think it was supposed to be more closer to where where like the 343 trilogy of Halo games are kind of set near. Pardon me. But yeah, I actually read like the first 2 chapters and I got bored with it immediately. Just shows that even then, yeah, all the stuff that happens in the Halo that happened post Halo 3, it's just not as good anymore. I stopped caring about the lore of the franchise. It's like, again, in terms of the games, you got Reach, CE 2 and 3. And 4 was okay. 4 was okay, but now it's just like, yeah, they really are just going off the rails with where the story's going. I've lost track of where everything is now. Nice. Excuse me. Just wanted to do another writing stream. I think I might actually do one where actually I talk fully about the genre of horror since it's October. I did one for writing romance. Unlike to be disoriented, and unlike to be disoriented too. Into 2. Everything around. Sorry, I'm looking something up. Okay, yeah, here was what I'm looking for. Monsters. Like monsters. Yeah, and the music is. I almost forgot about that. It really kind of helped out, especially when the last time I did one of my writing streams, and it really kind of helps you stay concentrated. Yeah, it really seems like not a lot of people really like, find this stuff really interesting because it's just, looking at the screen, you're just seeing everything sort of like slowly be typed up. But once I get like another page done, I think I'll probably end the stream right here. Excuse me again. I walked to the gym. It was a little chilly out there earlier. Early this morning. I'm gonna go back and see. How did Kiki describe? Oh, I think it's like up to 75 up here where I am. Ask them to join her on stage. How long have I been going for? Hour and 36 minutes. Okay, let's just keep going. Okay, that's great. That's great, Kathy. Do that. Maybe you should do a writing stream like Dreaming Tabitha does when she's drawing and whatnot. I think I've been doing for a while now. Okay, then go ahead and do that. And I think I've been going on for a little while now. So I think it's probably a good time to stop now. And I'm really glad that I had some good interaction in the chat with Kathy. But again, to anyone else out there who watches this later, again, writing is a very slow process, everybody, but you always got to bear with me. And I know I just wanted to share a little bit of what I'm working on with you guys and how getting my ideas down to paper will often be the more harder part. But until then, guys, I'll see you guys next time. And don't worry, you should look out for both Friday Night Biohazard this Friday on Twitch, and of course, Talking Xenobites, my open mic stream, which is basically being branded that because it's October, and also because Vandenberg thought it was a good idea. But I'm really glad you guys could all stop by, and I'll see you guys next time. So with that being said, may God and the Force and the power protect you always.